My name is Jason Reston, and I have spent most of my life being invisible in my own family. I grew up in a large house in a wealthy suburb of Chicago. My father, Paul Reston, was a successful corporate lawyer who had built his practice from nothing. My mother, June Reston, was a former beauty queen who dedicated her life to maintaining appearances. They were the kind of couple that looked perfect in photographs and were hollow everywhere else. My younger brother William was born 14 months after me. From the moment he could walk, it was clear he was the favorite. William was athletic, handsome, and charismatic. He inherited my father's competitive drive and my mother's good looks. I inherited my father's receding hairline and my mother's tendency to blend into the background. William played every sport: baseball, basketball, football. He was starting quarterback on the varsity team by his sophomore year. My father attended every single one of his games, screaming from the bleachers, living vicariously through every touchdown. I, on the other hand, was into computers. I spent my weekends in my room, teaching myself to code, reading about artificial intelligence, building software projects that no one in my family understood or cared about. "Why are you wasting your time with that nonsense?" my father would say when he saw me at my computer. "Go outside, play a sport, be a normal kid." "He is a nerd, Dad," William would chime in. "Let him play with his little toys." My mother never defended me. She was too busy planning William's schedule, coordinating his games, bragging about his achievements to her friends. She would post about William's touchdowns on social media. She never posted about my coding competition wins or my perfect SAT scores. "Jason is smart," she would say dismissively when someone asked about me. "He is the bookish one." It was not a compliment. The only person who seemed to see me was my Aunt Judy, my mother's twin sister. Judy was everything my mother was not. She was warm, genuine, and she had a sharp tongue that she was not afraid to use. She would come to family dinners and seek me out specifically. "Let me see what you are working on," she would say, pulling up a chair next to me while everyone else watched whatever game was on television. I would show her my latest project: a website I built, a program I wrote, a machine learning model I trained. She would listen intently, ask questions, and tell me she was proud of me. "Your parents do not know what they have," she told me once. "But I do. You are going to do great things, Jason. Mark my words." I held onto those words like a lifeline. When it came time for college, William announced he wanted to go to the University of Pennsylvania, Wharton School of Business. He had the grades, barely, and my parents pulled every string they had to get him in. They paid the full tuition, $70,000 a year, without blinking. "This is an investment in the future," my father announced at dinner. "William is going to be a titan of industry. You watch." I had also been applying to colleges. I had been accepted to the Massachusetts Institute of Technology for Computer Science, with a focus on artificial intelligence and finance. When I showed my parents the acceptance letter, my mother glanced at it and said, "That is in Boston, is it not? That is so far away. Can we afford it?" I asked. My father looked at me like I had asked him to fund a spaceship to Mars. "We spent everything on William's tuition," he said. "You will have to take out loans." I took out loans. Lots of them. MIT was where I found my people. For the first time in my life, I was surrounded by people who thought like I did. Late nights in the lab, coding sessions that stretched into dawn, conversations about neural networks and algorithmic trading that felt like a language I had been born to speak. I double majored in computer science and finance, with a minor in artificial intelligence. I graduated near the top of my class. I had job offers from every major tech company on the planet. But I turned them all down. I had a different plan. During my senior year, I had developed a piece of software. It was an AI-driven trading algorithm that could analyze market patterns and execute trades faster and more accurately than any human trader. I tested it with simulated data, and it outperformed every benchmark I threw at it. I showed it to a professor who specialized in quantitative finance. He was impressed enough to introduce me to some people in the industry. I moved to San Francisco after graduation. I rented a tiny studio apartment in a neighborhood that was not quite safe but was affordable. I lived on ramen and coffee and coded for 16 hours a day. I called my company QuantCore Analytics. The first year was brutal. I ran through my savings. I maxed out credit cards. I ate peanut butter sandwiches for months. But I kept building. I refined the algorithm. I built a platform around it. I created a product that could revolutionize algorithmic trading. I found my first client through a cold email. A small hedge fund agreed to beta test my software. The results were extraordinary. Within 3 months, the fund's returns had improved by 18%. Word spread. By the end of the second year, I had 10 clients. By the end of the third, I had 50. I hired my first employees. I moved out of the studio apartment. I started paying myself a salary. My friend Mario was the first person I hired. We had met at MIT, bonding over late-night coding sessions and a shared love of terrible pizza. Mario was a genius with data infrastructure, and he believed in my vision when no one else did. "You are building something real," he told me. "I want to be part of it." I made him my head of engineering. He was worth every penny. Meanwhile, William had graduated from Wharton and moved back to Chicago. My parents threw him a massive graduation party. I was not invited. He took a job at a mid-sized financial services company called Meridian Financial Group. The CEO was a man named Alex Anderson, a sharp, no-nonsense executive who had built the company over 20 years. William started as a junior analyst. He was not particularly good at his job, but he was charming and well-connected, and he knew how to play the corporate game. He climbed the ladder through personality rather than performance. Within 5 years, he was a senior vice president. My parents could not stop talking about it. "William is a senior VP," my mother would announce at every family gathering. "He is practically running the place." I attended these family gatherings out of obligation. I would fly back to Chicago twice a year, once for Thanksgiving and once for my mother's birthday. I would sit in my childhood home, surrounded by people who did not understand me, and smile through the conversations. "How is your little computer thing going?" my father would ask. "It is going well," I would say. "Still doing that coding stuff?" William would chime in. "You know they have actual jobs for people like you, right? You could work at a real company." "I am doing fine," I would say. Erin entered the picture when William was 27. She was a former cheerleader turned aspiring social media influencer, and she was the most vapid person I had ever met. She was also beautiful in a manufactured way, and William was completely smitten. They got married in a massive wedding that my parents paid for. I attended because I was told I had to. I wore a suit that I had bought off the rack. Erin looked at me like I was something she had stepped in. "That is what you are wearing?" she asked when she saw me. "It is a suit," I said. "It is the kind of suit someone wears to a job interview at a gas station," she said and walked away. By the time I was 30, QuantCore was valued at over $800 million. I had 200 employees. My AI trading platform was being used by some of the largest financial institutions in the world. I had been featured in Forbes, TechCrunch, and Bloomberg. I drove a 5-year-old Honda Civic. I wore jeans and t-shirts to work. My penthouse apartment was nice, but it was not extravagant. I did not care about money. I cared about building things. My assistant, Angela, was constantly trying to get me to improve my appearance. "Jason, you are a CEO," she would say. "You need to dress like one." "Why?" I would ask. "No one sees me. I am in my office coding. My code speaks for itself." Angela would sigh and hand me a list of tailors. I would ignore it. In my 31st year, I made a decision. QuantCore was doing well enough that I could start thinking about acquisitions. I wanted to expand into new markets, and the fastest way to do that was to buy existing companies. I had my team compile a list of potential acquisition targets. The list included Meridian Financial Group. I almost laughed when I saw it. Meridian, William's company. The company where my golden child brother was a senior vice president. The company that my parents bragged about at every family dinner. I read the analysis. Meridian was struggling. Their market share had been declining for years. Their technology was outdated. Their revenues were dropping. Mr. Alex Anderson was a capable CEO, but he was fighting an uphill battle against a rapidly changing industry. I saw an opportunity. I reached out to Mr. Anderson directly. We had a series of private conversations. I made him an offer, a fair offer, a generous offer. I would acquire Meridian Financial Group at a premium valuation. Mr. Anderson would stay on as CEO. No one would lose their jobs. Mr. Anderson accepted. The acquisition was structured quietly. We used shell companies to hide QuantCore's involvement. The deal took 6 months to finalize. When it was done, Meridian Financial Group was a wholly owned subsidiary of QuantCore Analytics. William had no idea. Neither did my parents. Neither did Aaron. Thanksgiving came 2 weeks after the deal closed. I flew back to Chicago as usual. I arrived at my parents' house in my usual attire. Jeans, a sweater, a jacket that had seen better days. I parked my Honda Civic in the driveway next to William's leased Mercedes and my father's BMW. The house was warm and smelled of turkey. My mother greeted me at the door with a perfunctory hug. "Jason, you made it," she said, already looking past me. "Happy Thanksgiving, Mom." She was already walking away. I found my father in the living room watching football with William. Erin was on the couch scrolling through her phone. Aunt Judy was in the kitchen helping with the food. "Jason," Judy said when she saw me. She put down the serving spoon and gave me a real hug. "It is so good to see you. How are you? How is work?" "I am doing well, Aunt Judy. Really well. You look thin. Are you eating?" "I am eating fine." Dinner was served. We sat around the large dining table, the same table I had sat at for every holiday of my childhood. My father carved the turkey. My mother fussed over the side dishes. William and Aaron sat across from me, looking perfect and smug. "So, Jason," my father said, passing me the mashed potatoes, "how is your little programming project going?" "It is going well," I said. "Still doing that freelance coding thing?" William asked. "I know a guy who needs a website built. I could put in a good word." "I appreciate that," I said, "but I am actually doing quite well on my own." "Define well," Aaron said, not looking up from her phone. "Are you still driving that beat-up car?" "The car runs fine," I said. "It is a Honda Civic," she said, as if that explained everything. "There is nothing wrong with a Honda Civic," Aunt Judy said. "It is a reliable car." "Reliable is not the same as successful," Aaron said. I said nothing. I was used to this. "You know, Jason," my father said, "if you ever want to get a real job, William might be able to help you out. He is a senior vice president at Meridian. He has connections." "Dad," I said, "I do not need a job at William's company." "Pride is not going to pay your bills," my mother said. "My bills are paid," I said. "Barely," William muttered. Aaron laughed. It was a sharp, unpleasant sound. She set down her phone and looked at me with undisguised contempt. "Jason, look at yourself," she said. "You are almost 32 years old. You are wearing a sweater that costs less than my lipstick. You drive a car that a college student would be embarrassed to own. You spend all your time playing with computers. When are you going to grow up and get a real life?" The table went quiet. I looked at Aaron. I looked at William. I looked at my parents, who were watching me with expressions of pity and disappointment. And then I looked at Aunt Judy. She was staring at my parents with an expression I had never seen on her face before. It was pure, cold fury. "Enough," she said. The word cut through the silence like a knife. "Sorry?" my mother said. "I said enough," Aunt Judy repeated, standing up. "I am tired of sitting here and watching you all treat Jason like he is a failure. Do you have any idea who your son is?" "Judy, sit down," my mother said. "No, June. I am not going to sit down. I have kept my mouth shut for 32 years, and I am done." She turned to my parents. "Your son Jason graduated from MIT with degrees in computer science and finance and a minor in artificial intelligence. He graduated near the top of his class. He turned down job offers from Google, Apple, and Goldman Sachs to start his own company. He has built something from nothing while you were too busy fawning over William to notice." She turned to Aaron. And you married into this family for money and status. But you have no idea who actually has the money in this family. So maybe you should learn to keep your mouth shut. The silence was absolute. My parents were staring at me like they had never seen me before. Aaron's face was red. William stared at his plate. Jason, my mother said. What is she talking about? What company? It does not matter, I said. What matters is that I have been sitting at this table for 32 years being told I am not good enough. And I am done listening. I stood up. I am going to go now. Aunt Judy, you are always welcome in my life. But the rest of you, I need some time. I walked out of the dining room. My mother called after me, but I did not stop. I grabbed my jacket and walked out the front door. Aunt Judy followed me to the car. Jason, wait, she said. I turned around. She was crying. I am so proud of you, she said. I have always been proud of you. And I am sorry that no one else in this family ever saw what I saw. You saw it, I said. That was enough. I hugged her and got into my car. I drove back to the airport and flew home to San Francisco. What I did not see was what happened after I left. Aunt Judy walked back inside. The table was still silent. My mother was crying. My father was staring at the wall. William had not moved. Erin was texting furiously on her phone. You should be ashamed of yourselves, Judy said. All of you. She grabbed her coat and left too. The dinner was over. William and Erin drove home in silence. It was not until they were inside their house that Erin finally spoke. What was that about? What company is she talking about? I do not know, William said. She is probably exaggerating. You know how Aunt Judy is. But Erin was not convinced. She had seen the look in Judy's eyes. It was not the look of someone defending a failure. It was the look of someone defending a success. The next week, I flew back to Chicago for my scheduled meeting with Mr. Anderson. The integration was moving forward. We had a lot to discuss. I took a cab from the airport to the Meridian headquarters, a glass tower in the financial district that I now owned. Mr. Anderson greeted me warmly. He was a tall man in his 60s, silver-haired, with the calm demeanor of someone who had seen every side of business. Jason, it is a pleasure to finally meet you in person, he said, shaking my hand. I have read a lot about QuantCore. You have built something impressive. Thank you, Mr. Anderson. I am looking forward to working together. We sat down in his office. Coffee was served. We discussed the transition plan, the technology upgrades, the timeline for integration. It was a productive meeting. Then the door opened. William walked in. He was holding a tablet, presumably coming to deliver some report to his boss. He stopped dead in the doorway when he saw me sitting across from Alex Anderson. Jason, he said, what are you doing here? I looked at him. I looked at Mr. Anderson. Mr. Anderson looked confused. You two know each other? Mr. Anderson asked. He is my brother, William said. His voice was tight. What is he doing in your office, Mr. Anderson? Mr. Anderson glanced at me. I nodded. He understood. William, Mr. Anderson said, I think you should sit down. There is something you need to know. William did not sit. What is going on? Meridian Financial Group has been acquired, Mr. Anderson said. The deal closed last month. QuantCore Analytics is the new parent company. Jason Reston is your new boss. The color drained from William's face. That is not possible, he said. Jason is a computer nerd who lives in a studio apartment. He cannot afford to buy a company. QuantCore Analytics is valued at over $900 million. William, Mr. Anderson said, your brother is just shy of being a billionaire. He has been running one of the most successful fintech companies in the country while you have been working here. William looked at me. His eyes were wild. Is this true? Yes, I said. It is true. You did this to humiliate me. I did this because Meridian is a good acquisition target, I said. Your personal involvement was a coincidence. An ironic one, but a coincidence. You are lying. You bought this company to destroy me. If I wanted to destroy you, I would have fired you the moment the deal closed, I said. I did not. You still have your job. You still have your salary. I am not your enemy, William. I am just your boss now. William stood in the middle of the office, his tablet hanging at his side, his face a mask of shock and fury. He looked at Mr. Anderson. He looked at me. He had nothing to say. I have a meeting to get back to, he finally said, and walked out. He did not go back to his meeting. He went to the men's room on the executive floor, locked himself in a stall, and sat there for 20 minutes. His hands were shaking. He felt like the floor had opened beneath him. He called Erin. You need to come home, he said. Something happened. What? Just come home. When he told her that night, she did not react the way he expected. She did not comfort him. She sat in silence, her mind racing. So your older brother owns your company, she said slowly. The one we made fun of at Thanksgiving. Yes. He is a billionaire? Almost apparently. Erin stood up and walked to the window. When she spoke, her voice was cold. I married the wrong brother. William felt like he had been slapped. What did you just say? You heard me. That night, they slept in separate rooms for the first time in their marriage. My parents found out from William the next day. He called them from his car, parked outside his house, too ashamed to say it in front of Erin. Mom, Dad, there is something you need to know. He told them the news. My mother was silent for a long time. Then she started to cry. This cannot be right, she said. There must be some mistake. There is no mistake, Mom. I saw him. He was in Mr. Anderson's office. He owns the company. But he is your older brother, my father said. He drives a Honda Civic. He wears cheap clothes. How can he own a company? I do not know, Dad. But he does. My father hung up the phone and sat in his study for hours. He did not turn on the television. He did not read the paper. He just sat there, staring at the wall, replaying every conversation he had ever had with me. Every time he had dismissed my work. Every time he had compared me to William. Every time he had told me I was wasting my time. He realized, for the first time in his life, that he had been wrong about me. And the realization was devastating. The next few weeks were difficult for everyone. At Meridian, the news spread quickly. Rumors circulated about the young tech billionaire who had acquired the company. When people found out he was William's brother, the gossip became relentless. Can you believe it? His brother owns the company now. I heard they do not even get along. How embarrassing for William. William felt the whispers everywhere he went. In the elevator, in the break room, in meetings where his authority was suddenly questioned by people who used to defer to him. His colleagues treated him differently. They were polite, but there was a distance. No one wanted to be too close to the boss's brother, especially when the boss was known to have a complicated relationship with him. One day, William walked into a meeting and found his team working on a project he had not been consulted on. His junior colleague, a woman named Sarah who had been hired 6 months ago, was leading the discussion. Who authorized this? William asked. Mr. Anderson's office, Sarah said. They said it was a priority from the new parent company. Why was I not informed? Sarah shrugged. I do not know. I was told to handle it directly. William felt his position eroding. He was still a senior vice president in title, but the reality was different. He was being managed around. His input was no longer required. He went to Mr. Anderson's office. Alex, we need to talk. Come in, William. My team is going around me. Projects are being assigned without my knowledge. My authority is being undermined. Mr. Anderson leaned back in his chair. William, I am going to be honest with you. The integration is happening quickly. We are restructuring. Your position is being evaluated as part of that process. Evaluated? I have been here for 8 years. I am a senior vice president. You were hired by the old Meridian. The new Meridian is different. Your brother has made it clear that he wants performance-based evaluations across the board. That includes you. So this is about him. This is personal. It is not personal, Mr. Anderson said. It is business. Your performance reviews over the past 3 years have been average at best. You coast on relationships. You delegate hard work. You show up late and leave early. That worked under the old regime. It will not work under the new one. William left the office feeling like he had been gutted. Meanwhile, I was back in San Francisco trying to focus on the integration. But my mind kept drifting to my family. Mario noticed. "You seem off," he said one day, dropping into the chair across from my desk. "I am fine. You are not fine. You have been staring at that spreadsheet for 10 minutes without moving. I have a lot on my mind." "Your family?" I did not answer. I did not need to. "Look," Mario said. "You did what you had to do. You built something incredible. You bought their company. The ball is in their court now. You do not owe them anything." "Then why do I feel like this?" "Like what?" "Like I won a battle I did not actually want to fight." Mario was quiet for a moment. "Maybe because you wanted them to see you, and now that they do, you realize seeing is not the same as understanding." "When did you get so philosophical?" "When my best friend became a billionaire and started moping about it." I almost laughed. "I am not moping. You are definitely moping. And I am going to tell you something you are not going to want to hear." "Go ahead." "If your parents were poor, and William was the successful one, would you still be this angry?" The question hit me harder than I expected. "That is different," I said. "Is it? Or did their dismissal of you hurt more because money proved them wrong?" I did not answer, because I was not sure I liked the answer. A few days later, I got a call from Angela. "Jason, I have Mr. Anderson on line 1. He wants to discuss the integration plan. Also, your brother has been calling. He wants to schedule a meeting with you. Tell Mr. Anderson I will call him this afternoon. And tell William the first am not available." "For how long?" I thought about it. "Indefinitely." Angela paused. "Understood." "Also," I said, "find me a tailor. A good one." "Really? Really? I have a new employee who needs to learn that appearances are not everything. But apparently I need to show him by example." Angela laughed. "I have had a list ready for months." I spent the next few weeks focused on the integration. Mr. Anderson was cooperative and professional. He understood that Meridian needed to modernize, and he was on board with the changes I proposed. William, on the other hand, was a problem. He called my office repeatedly. He sent emails to Angela. He even showed up at my building once, demanding to see me. Angela handled him with grace and firmness. "Mr. Reston, I will let you know when Mr. Reston is available," she would say. "Please be patient." Back in Chicago, Erin moved out. She did not announce it. She did not explain it. She simply packed her bags while William was at work and left a note on the kitchen counter. It said, "I did not sign up for this." William came home to an empty house. He called her. She did not answer. He called her mother. Her mother said Erin was staying with her and did not want to talk. The divorce papers arrived a week later. William did not fight them. He did not have the energy. He signed them and went back to work, because work was the only thing he had left. And something strange happened. Without Erin's judgment hanging over him, without the pressure of maintaining appearances, William started to change. He started showing up early. He stayed late. He actually read the reports instead of skimming them. He asked questions. He listened to his team. He made mistakes and learned from them. One afternoon, Mr. Anderson called me. "Jason, I wanted to give you an update on your brother." "Go ahead." "He is improving. Significantly. I put him in charge of the underperforming commercial division 6 weeks ago. The numbers are already turning around." "How is he handling it?" "He is working harder than I have ever seen him work. He is showing up early. He is taking responsibility. He is not delegating the hard parts." I did not know how to feel about that. Part of me was proud. Part of me was skeptical. Part of me wondered if this was just another act. "Keep me updated," I said. I hung up and stared at the ceiling. Mario walked in with 2 coffees and handed me one. "Good news. William is actually working. For real, apparently." "And that bothers you?" It does not bother me. It just surprises me. Why? Because you assumed he was incapable of change. I looked at Mario. I assumed he would never have a reason to change. And now he does. Maybe that is a good thing. Maybe that is the best thing that could come out of this whole mess. I wanted to argue, but I could not. A month later, William called me. Not through Angela. He called my personal line. Hey, he said. Hey, I wanted to tell you something. The commercial division I have been running, we just posted our first profitable quarter in 2 years. That is good, William. It is not great. We still have a long way to go. But it is something. And I wanted you to hear it from me. I appreciate that. There was a pause. I also wanted to say something else, he said. I have been thinking a lot about what you said, about growth, about earning things. And I realized I have never actually earned anything in my life. Everything was given to me, the attention, the praise, the job, even Aaron. None of it was because of something I did. It was because of who I was perceived to be. And now I want to earn something. I want to know what it feels like to actually deserve what I have. I did not know what to say to that, so I said the only thing that felt true. That is a good start, William. That is a really good start. We talked for another 10 minutes. About work. About Chicago. About nothing important. It was the longest conversation we had had in years. When I hung up, I sat in silence for a long time. Then my parents showed up. Angela called me. Jason, there are 2 people at reception. They say they are your parents. I felt my stomach tighten. Both of them. Both of them. Your father asked if you had received a letter. Your mother is crying. I closed my eyes. I had been expecting this since Thanksgiving. Dreading it. Preparing for it. And still I was not ready. Send them back. My parents walked into my office together, and I barely recognized them. My mother looked smaller than I remembered. Her expensive coat hanging loose on shoulders that seemed to have shrunk. My father looked older. The confident lawyer replaced by a man who could not meet my eyes. They stood in front of my desk like strangers who had wandered into the wrong room. Sit down, I said. They sat. My mother on the left. My father on the right. The silence was unbearable. Your father wanted to come, my mother finally said. We both wanted to come. Why? My father cleared his throat. Because I owe you an apology. Not in a letter. In person. I looked at him. Then say it. He took a breath. I was wrong about you, Jason. I was wrong about everything. I compared you to William your whole life, and I never stopped to ask myself why. I never stopped to see who you were. Do you remember my 8th grade science fair? I asked. The question caught him off guard. What? My 8th grade science fair. I built a program that could predict stock market movements based on news articles. It was primitive, but it worked. I won first place. You did not come. You were at William's baseball game. My mother shifted in her seat. Jason, that was years ago. It was 24 years ago. And I remember it like it was yesterday. I stood on that stage holding a trophy, scanning the crowd for you. You were not there. Neither of you. We did not know it was important to you, my father said. You never asked. You never asked about anything I did. You never came to any of my competitions. You never posted about my achievements. You never told me you were proud of me. Not once. Not in 32 years. My mother was crying now. We did not realize. That is the problem, Mom. You did not realize. You did not realize because you never bothered to look. My father sat forward. His voice was rough. You are right. We did not look. We saw William because he was loud and visible and easy. And you were quiet and in your room, and we told ourselves you were fine. We told ourselves you did not need us the way he did. That is what you told yourselves? Yes. And it was a lie. It was an excuse. We took the easy path and we failed you. I looked at my father. For the first time in my life, I saw him without the armor. He was not the successful lawyer. He was not the proud father of the golden child. He was a man who had made a terrible mistake and was only now beginning to understand its weight. I am sorry, Jason, he said. I know that is not enough. I know it does not undo anything. But I need you to hear me say it. I am sorry for every time I made you feel like you were not enough. I am sorry for every time I chose him over you. I am sorry for not being the father you deserved. He reached into his jacket and pulled out a piece of paper. It was the same letter my mother had tried to give me in my original draft of this story. But now he was handing it to me himself. I wrote this because I could not say it out loud, he said. But you deserved to hear it in person. So here I am. I took the letter. I did not open it. I hear you, I said. I hear what you are saying. But I need you to understand something. I spent my entire childhood invisible. I built a billion-dollar company not because I wanted to be rich, but because I wanted to prove to myself that I existed, that I mattered, that I was not just the background character in William's story. You were never just that, my mother said. But I was. To you. To both of you. And I do not know how to unfeel that. I do not know how to erase 32 years of being unseen. My mother reached across the desk. We are not asking you to erase it. We are asking you to let us try to make it right. I looked at her hand. I did not take it. I cannot promise you anything, I said. I cannot promise that I will forgive you. I cannot promise that we will be a normal family. But I can promise that I will try. That is all I have right now. My mother nodded. That is more than we deserve. My father stood up. He looked at me for a long moment. I am proud of you, Jason. I should have said it 30 years ago. But I am saying it now. I did not respond. I could not. They left. I sat in my office, holding my father's letter, not opening it. Mario found me like that 20 minutes later. Hey, he said. Angela told me your parents were here. You okay? I do not know. He sat down across from me. You want me to leave? No. Stay. He stayed. We sat in silence for a long time. Eventually, I opened the letter. It said everything my father had said in person, written in his careful lawyer's handwriting. I read it once. Then I folded it and put it in my desk drawer. What are you going to do? Mario asked. I do not know. Part of me wants to forgive them. Part of me wants to never speak to them again. Both are valid. That is not helpful, Mario. He shrugged. It is the truth. You get to decide what you need. Not them. Not me. You. What if I do not know what I need? Then you take your time figuring it out. That is what therapy is for. I almost laughed. Are you suggesting I go to therapy? I am suggesting you talk to someone who is not me. I am a great engineer. I am a terrible therapist. I leaned back in my chair. I will think about it. That is all I ask. He stood up and walked to the door. Oh, and Jason? Yeah. For what it is worth, I am proud of you too. And I have been saying it for 15 years. He left before I could respond. I sat alone in my office, the letter in my drawer, the city lights coming on outside my window. I still did not call my father, but I kept the letter. A few weeks later, I flew to Chicago for Aunt Judy's birthday. It was the first time I had been back since the boardroom meeting. Judy had asked me to come. She had been careful not to push, but she made it clear she wanted me there. It is my birthday, she said. I get to choose who is invited. And I choose you. I could not say no to her. The party was at her house, a modest home in a quiet neighborhood. When I walked in, I saw my parents first. My mother looked nervous. My father looked uncomfortable. They were standing by the kitchen, holding cups of coffee, not quite sure where to look. Jason, my mother said, thank you for coming. Happy birthday to Aunt Judy, I said. That is why I am here. My father nodded. Fair enough. Aunt Judy emerged from the kitchen and threw her arms around me. There he is, my favorite nephew. Your only nephew, I said. Still my favorite. William arrived later. He walked in alone. Where is Erin? I asked. Gone, he said. She filed for divorce a few weeks ago. I am sorry. Do not be. It was a long time coming. He paused. She was not in love with me. She was in love with the idea of being married to someone successful. And when she found out I was not the successful one, the marriage fell apart. He looked at me. You probably think I deserve that. I think people make choices, I said. And sometimes those choices have consequences. He nodded. Yeah, they do. We stood in awkward silence for a moment. Look, William said. I know we are not going to fix everything tonight, but I want you to know that I am trying. I am actually trying to be better at my job. I am trying to be a better person. It is hard. It is humiliating, but I am doing it. Why? Because for the first time in my life, I have something to prove. Not to you, to myself. I looked at my brother, the golden child, the one who had always been favored, the one who had always been enough. He looked older now, tireder, more human. That is a good start, I said. That is all I have. Starts. We stood there for a moment, two brothers who had spent 32 years living parallel lives in the same house. Do you remember when we were kids? William asked. You were always in your room. I used to think you were hiding from us. I was. Why? Because it was safer in there. The computer did not judge me. The code did not compare me to anyone. It was the only place where I was enough. William was quiet for a long time. I did not know that. You never asked. He nodded slowly. I am asking now. I looked at my brother. Really looked at him. I built QuantCore because I needed to prove something to myself. But part of me, maybe a bigger part than I want to admit, built it because I wanted to prove something to you. To all of you. You proved it. Did I? You bought my company, Jason. You are my boss. I think you proved it. That was never the point. Then what was the point? I thought about it. I wanted you to see me, not as the weird kid in the computer room, not as the failure you could pity. I wanted you to see me as your equal. William met my eyes. You were never my equal, Jason. The words hung in the air. You were always better than me, he said. I just did not know it. And if I had known it, I would not have admitted it. But I am admitting it now. You are smarter than me. You are more successful than me. You are a better person than me. You built something real. I just coasted on a reputation I did not earn. I did not know what to say to that. So I said the only thing that mattered. We are both still learning. Later that night, after the cake had been cut and the guests had gone home, Aunt Judy pulled me aside. How are you doing? She asked. I do not know, I said honestly. I have everything I ever wanted. The company, the money, the recognition, and I am not sure it makes me happy. It is not supposed to make you happy, she said. Success does not fix you. It just gives you more resources to deal with who you already are. That is very philosophical for a birthday party. She laughed. I have had a lot of time to think, and I have watched you your whole life. You were always looking for their approval. And now you have their attention, but you realize attention is not the same as approval. I sat with that for a moment. Your mother is trying, she said. She is not good at it, but she is trying. And your father wrote you a letter. Did you read it? I read it. And I do not know what to do with it. A letter does not undo 32 years. No, Judy said. It does not. But it is a start. She took my hand. You do not have to forgive them, Jason. Not tonight. Not ever if you do not want to. But do not let your anger at them become a prison for you. You have built a life that most people can only dream of. Do not let the bitterness take that away from you. I hugged her. I love you, Aunt Judy. I love you too, Jason. Now go home. Get some sleep. I flew back to San Francisco the next morning. A few weeks later, I called my parents. Together. I called the house phone, the landline they had had since I was a child. My mother answered. Hello. Hi, Mom. Is Dad there? He is. One moment. I heard her call him. Paul, it is Jason. He wants to talk to both of us. There was a pause. Then my father's voice. Jason. Hi, Dad. I am putting you on speaker. I want to say something to both of you. I heard the click of the speakerphone. I am not ready to pretend everything is okay, I said. I am not ready to pretend the past did not happen. But I wanted you to know that I am open to talking. Slowly. At my pace. And I want you to understand something. This is not going to be fixed overnight. It might not be fixed for years. But I am willing to try if you are. My mother was crying. We are willing, Jason. We are so willing. Good, I said. Then let us start there. We talked for 30 minutes. It was awkward and stilted and none of us knew what to say. My father talked about his garden. My mother talked about her book club. I talked about the weather in San Francisco. It was the most mundane conversation in the world. And it was exactly what we needed. When I hung up, I sat in my office and looked out at the city. The lights were coming on across San Francisco, a million points of light in the darkness. I thought about my journey, from a lonely kid in a computer room to the owner of $1 billion company. From being invisible in my own family to being the one who owned the show. I thought about William, who was learning what it meant to earn something for the first time in his life. I thought about my father, who had flown across the country to apologize in person. I thought about my mother, who was trying so hard to make up for decades of neglect. I thought about Aunt Judy, who had seen me when no one else would. And I thought about myself, the version of me who sat in his room at 16, coding alone, wondering if anyone would ever see what he was building. That kid would not believe where we ended up. I had not done it for revenge. I had done it because I loved what I built. I loved the code, the algorithms, the late nights solving impossible problems. The money was never the point. The point was proving to myself that I could do it. But somewhere along the way, I had also proven something to everyone else. William was still working at Meridian. He was doing well. The commercial division he ran had turned around. He had earned the respect of his team, not through charm, but through showing up and doing the work. I promoted him, not because he was my brother, but because he had earned it. He called me once a week now, not to ask for anything, but just to talk. We were learning to be brothers. It was slow and painful and neither of us knew what we were doing. But we were trying. My parents were working on themselves. They were seeing a therapist. My father called me once a month to give me updates on his garden. He did not talk about the past. He talked about tomatoes and rose bushes. I let him. Aunt Judy was still Aunt Judy. She called me every Sunday. She told me she was proud of me. She told me to eat more vegetables. She told me she loved me. And I was still me. I was still Jason Reston, the kid who coded in his room while his brother played football. I still drove a Honda Civic. I still wore hoodies to work. I still spent my weekends building things. Angela still handed me lists of tailors. I still ignored them. Some things I decided did not need to change. Mario still called me at midnight to talk about code. We still ordered terrible pizza and argued about algorithms. He was still the best friend I had ever had. Aunt Judy still called every Sunday. She still told me she was proud of me. She still told me to eat more vegetables. She still told me she loved me. And I still believed her because she had never given me a reason not to. But I was also the founder and CEO of QuantCore Analytics. I was the owner of Meridian Financial Group. I was the boss of the brother who had always been the favorite. And I was just getting started. Please like and subscribe to our channel.